Hello and welcome, guys. This time it's a time to have a practice session on whatever we studied regarding the useState hook of ours, and let's get straight into the code sandbox. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. So in here we have the initial sandbox files. The first thing is the index.js, which consists of some instructions, and it is a little bit changed, let's say, the format of this as compared to the previous practice sessions that we had. And inside app.jsx you have simple these two elements, this h1 and a button, in which time and current time are hard coded. So let me run you through the instructions that we have in order to make things more clear. So you have two tasks to perform in this practice session. The first one is that you have to get the current time. So as sort of a hint, we are giving you this time equals to new date. So up till this particular point we knew that using this new date object we were able to tap into the different functions of this particular object in order to get hours, minutes and whatever and whatnot. So there's this another function called toLocalTimeString, and what it does is it will, let me directly show you inside my console. So you can see right now it's 6:20 p.m. So it's 22 now. Let me reload it once to be able to see the updated time here. So 6:22, and it gets picked up from the system itself, and then it converts it into a string, and then which string that we are able to log onto our console. So what I want you guys to do is, by the use of this particular function, we want this time to get displayed onto this h1 as soon as the user clicks on this current time button. Okay, so show the latest time in h1 when the get time button is pressed. That is the task number 1. The task number 2 says that you have to write some code so that this particular current time, or let's say the actual time, the current time, whatever you have, that gets updated every second. And then as a hint, you have a function here. So basically we have this set interval function in JavaScript, and what it does is it basically calls an x function, which is this one in our case, after let's say every these milliseconds of time. Okay, always remember that this is in milliseconds and not seconds. So when I'm writing 1000 here, it means I'm writing 1 second. So this particular code snippet, it means that every 1000 millisecond or every second, call this particular function. And what this particular function is doing is it is printing hello. So in order to cross check this, you can uncomment this out, and okay, once you see on your console, you'll be able to see that let me see on every second it is actually clubbing all these similar entries. You can see it's 8, 9, 10. So every second hello is getting printed onto my console. But a word of caution regarding this set interval method of ours. See, if you skip this particular part, right, I'm not skipping it. So if you skip this particular part or you make it equals to 1 or something, so what happens is, if you skip this, it will call this particular function every millisecond, which means 1000 times in 1 second. So sometimes, in most of the times, the code sandbox and our machine is not able to take that load, and it simply freezes. This code sandbox simply freezes in that particular scenario. So what is recommended is, first of all, if you get stuck in such scenario, don't worry. The code of yours gets saved inside code sandbox in real time. So you can just close that window and go back to your dashboard and open or you use get back to your dashboard, open that particular sandbox again, and you will have all the your progress saved. Second thing, whenever you are using this function, so instead of writing the name of your function here, All right, so what people do is they basically write the name of function. Okay, I'm not writing it actually. So let's say if your function was called func, so they write the name of function and then they start putting the comma. But the problem is, up till here it's already very late, because as soon as you write the particular function here and the function is already present, then it will start it will acknowledge, okay, you want to call the set interval function, which means this func function is to be called. Since you are not providing me with any inputs regarding the time interval, I'm going to call this particular function every millisecond. So what's a good practice to use this particular function is, first you mention the duration after which, or the interval after which you want that function to get called, and after writing that duration, then go ahead, put the comma and mention the name of your function. This way it is a foolproof method that your whatever code, your environment and your machine doesn't get stuck. So I hope you were able to understand the problem statement. Now it's time for showdown. So pause this now and give it a try yourself. All right, so let's see how we can achieve this task. So the number one instruction that we had is, we had to get the current time using this. So first of all, let's copy this, head over inside our app.jsx, and let's say we paste it like this. And now instead of getting printing time here, let's put time like this. Okay, so once we do this, what will happen is the current time that we have, it will start getting displayed onto this point. It is actually messing up a bit because the space is very less, but in the actual window, okay, let me see, is there anything that I'm missing? Anyways, so let's complete our code first and then we'll worry about the styling later. So what is happening is, basically we are first putting the current time in on here, and what we wanted was, as soon as we click on this current time, this time should get updated to whatever current time we are having right now. So let's say what we do is, we make use of our useState function, which is equal to an array like this. And see, as soon as you use that React boilerplate and the suggestion inside this code sandbox, as soon as I write this, as soon as I wrote this useState here, it automatically adds this as a non-default. It automatically imports it at the very beginning from the React module. So now what I want to do is, let's change this particular time to current time, or yeah, let's make it equal to not current time, let's call it initial time. All right, because this is the one that we get or we initialize our time with. The second thing what we have to do is, we have to mention both of these parameters here. The first one is the element, the initial value of our state, which we are taking as time, and the second one is the function using which we will be setting our time. So I'm going to call it set time, and let's make the initial time of ours equal to initial time. So now we have this initial time of ours mentioned right here. The next thing what we wanted was, as soon as this current time button is clicked, we wanted to call this onClick listener, and let's say we call our function, what should we call our function? Let's call our function func time. I cannot remember any other name, so let's call it like this. And now let's write this func capital D time, and inside this what we want is, we want to use this set time function, and now we want to set this time to the current time, whatever the current time is at the moment of pressing this button. In order to do so, we have to use another constant. Let's call this constant current time. Okay, now you understand why I called this initial time. And let's copy this because the code is same. Yeah, this way we will now get hold of the time at the moment of pressing of this button, and now we can finally update our time with the current time. Once you hit save, you can see I think there's some issue with the styling. When I will provide you with the sandbox link, I'll correct it, but let's not waste time with the styling as of now. Let's just see it. So as soon as I press this current time, you can see that the time changed from 31 to 32, and as soon as I keep clicking it, you can see the seconds get updated, and whatever current time we have, in this case 1832, that is 6:32, it keeps on getting updated. Okay, so that means the task 1 is finally completed. As soon as we hit this current time button, the time of ours gets updated to the current time. Now let's have a look to the second task of ours. So actually the second task is really very simple. What it said was that we can use this set interval method in order to call a particular function every second, every 1000 milliseconds, and by the use of that we wanted our time to automatically get updated every second. So it will sort of behave like a live clock. So let's just copy this and paste this function of ours at the very top, and the only thing that we want to change here is, instead of calling any other function, we'll simply call this function of time. And as soon as you do this and you open this inside your window, you'll be able to see that your time gets updated every second. You can see every second it is getting updated, 53, 54, 55. So what this set interval method is doing is, every 1000 milliseconds or after every second, it is calling this function, and inside this function we have already written the code to set the current state, the current value of our state, which is this time variable, and it is updating it to the current time, which we are getting using by the use of this function of ours. So this was task number 2. So how was it? Were you able to achieve the task? This particular practice session was a bit fun one, because I think that it sort of felt like a real life scenario where we actually created a dynamic clock which was getting updated every second. And by these two tasks, I feel that you'll be able to pretty much understand what this useState hook is and what all scenarios it can be used for. Again, if you're not able to understand, or if you were not able to complete the task, no problem, you went through the solution. Now go back to the initial sandbox, and without referring to it again, try to finish it from start to the very end by yourself. And regarding this content of ours, if you have any suggestion or addition, modification or subtraction of anything, feel free to comment down below. Now with this useState hook of ours is completed, and I'll see you with further knowledge in this React course in the next session.